now you can come to the table fully confident and fully empowered. But that's what social media and the internet is able to do for you, you know? And so yeah, I'm just never gonna shit on the internet, because it's just really dope if you're able to use it as a tool that it is. So I just got back from the library library, my space for deep focus, and they got like the magazine section. First of all, it's just like a gorgeous day. I had to sit out here and just bask up the sun, just finished a late lunch and about to just vibe out and listen to the birds. So hopefully y'all vibing with the birds. So I just got back from the library, and they have the magazine section. So they had the Harper's magazine, and the article was The End of Hollywood as We Know It. I highly recommend that you give it a read. So much value, especially as artists, entrepreneurs, content creators. It just, and I know like it, maybe we over the whole news around the writer's strike, but what I really liked about this article is that he talked about a bit of the aftermath, because once the strike was over, a lot of the demands that the writers were asking for were fulfilled. But what he really broke down, Daniel, I forgot his last name, Daniel was the author of the article. What he talked about is that on paper it might have looked like a win, but when you actually comb through what they were given, it actually was nowhere near what they are deserving of, or even it's not even like a fulfillment of what they was asking for in regards to like getting the actual streaming data of who is streaming whatever show or TV series that they had wrote. And it's great, like as a content creator, like as a YouTuber, and like just knowing how much our analytics can guide our content and also inspire us and also encourage us and keep us going, like seeing people's comments, seeing the amount of views on a certain video. And so knowing that these writers are creating this, creating their film or show or whatever type of content they're creating, and not really getting a feedback loop the way that we're able to get it in YouTube, as well as not being able to be compensated the way that they probably should be. And so what was really coming up for me is just really agreeing with everything that was written in the article, but seeing it on a broader spectrum of how that's going to affect every single industry, not only film, not only media, but the internet and AI, and just the digitization of so many different jobs, content, the way that we engage and connect with each other, income, currency, cryptocurrency, like everything is going to be digital. Everything is already digitized, but just how it is going to affect so much of our future. Like we are really living through a really interesting transition. And so I talked about something like this on the main channel. How we doing with the frame? Y'all, the roses are in bloom. I don't know if y'all can see them. Y'all probably can't see them from here. But I talked about being a disillusioned artist on the main channel, and like just how I was talking about the specific emotion that I was processing is grief. And at the time of saying it, I was like, grief? Like, am I being dramatic? But the more that I was reading this article, the more, what's crazy, I didn't realize that I was actually gaslighting myself. I got a video talking about this on the main channel too, just like gaslighting myself. So I didn't realize that I was, I think gaslighting is the perfect word. So how I was feeling was like, okay, it's kind of with this whole digital space. Y'all know I've been moving from a little bit more social media facing artists, trying to be more in the gallery spaces. I'm pursuing gallery representation, all the different things. And so I'm actively on that role and on that journey that I'm sharing over on the main channel. But behind the scenes, what I'm seeing is that in my discussion of talking about being a disillusioned artist and taking the rose-colored glasses off, what I'm further processing is that the rose-colored glasses was also an illusion, okay, affirming what I said before. So it's an illusion, but it's not all the way an illusion. It's just that there were actually, when you think of illusion, you think of something that like completely is fabricated, completely like doesn't exist. When I was reading this article in the Harper magazine, it reminded me like, okay, the sort of romanticized ideas that we have of the past aren't illusions. Like they actually did exist at one point. You know what I mean? Like when you think about Picasso or like different artists, or in his case, the Hollywood and media. And when you did hear about writers making successful income, a six-figure income from writing for a TV show or series. Like this actually was a real time in history that did happen. Whereas now writers have to be writing on multiple shows to even make an income if they're lucky. And then maybe if they aren't, then they're one guy said he was working at the Apple store. He was being an administrative assistant. He was being a virtual assistant, like having all these other streams of income, but still fulfilling your dream as a writer. I feel like that's really what's happening now. You know, like so many artists have done, you know, it makes me think about we're living in the gig economy. So people just aren't having salaries anymore in the way that they used to in regards to a creative field. I guess the creative field has always been a bit of a freelance economy. And that's why those roles were so coveted for you to work with a major studio. Or I follow another content creator on YouTube who is an animator, and she worked with Pixar and Disney and stuff. And so that's why those roles were coveted, because you did move from being just like a freelancer, going from gig to gig to gig, to finally being able to like settle down a little bit, have insurance, you know, have benefits, have health care, have dental, and to still be able to create and make your art as a writer or animator or whatever modality that these creators were using, you know. Man, the birds at war. I just ate and like I get like juicy mouthed after I eat. I don't want to have to edit this video too much, so I'm just gonna clear my voice a little bit. Maybe I'll chop those out, but like whatever. I'm gonna try not to edit as much because ain't nobody trying to be chopping all this up. But yeah, so that's just really okay. So what I realized in the process of taking the rose colored glasses off, the grass isn't always greener. Those past jobs aren't they? Oh, and it was a powerful quote in the article. The man said, because, you know, they're talking about like diversity and like, oh, hearing more stories from people of color and like marginalized communities. And like in between the 2010s and 2020s was like this decade of hearing more diverse stories. And I feel like we seeing a few more as well. But the quote, he said like, writers' rooms became more diverse at a time where there are now no more writers' rooms. I was like, now this is crazy. This happens in so many different industries. I was seeing some stuff on YouTube talking about like influencing is dead, or like, you know, influences is dead. The other thing that he's seeing something was like the death of celebrity culture. I think there's just really an interesting shift that's happening right now where a lot of the power is being given back to the people, and a lot of more of these indie roles, like indie artists, indie filmmakers. Yeah, I don't know. And of course, like with the times, with the economy, it's like, yeah, ain't nobody trying to see you flex your like Gucci bag or like whatever, you know. So maybe even that is making celebrity culture subside a little bit. I watched something as well on a commentary channel. She was talking about how like now the new flexing or like luxury is just like a grocery store haul of like fresh produce with the price of food, you know. And I'm just like, man, what sort of dystopia is that? Like that's crazy to even think about, but like whatever. But you know, it's interesting. It's like once black people finally do sort of like make it in these rooms or have a seat at the table, now they want to like change the rules for the table, you know. And it's just like, really? Really, you know. So now you come to a point. So I think what I'm coming back to for me, because me and Andy had a whole conversation about this, and depending on when this rolls out, if you watch my main channel, I'm going on a break soon in June, and I might still be talking here on a Gemini Diary. I don't know, because like these really be for me to like process my thoughts, you know. But when I come back on the main channel, I'm going to be talking about a little bit of the conversation that me and Andy had. But it was really a clarity point for me. Well, it was a check-in point. I had to sleep on it. So this is like the morning after. Okay, this is like the next day that now I'm realizing like, oh, girl, you actually in the right position. I think what I'm realizing with social media and the internet, it gives you so much leverage for the real world. And I think I was trying to figure out like, okay, should I go like all in on YouTube and like all in on the sort of digital world, or should I just go all in on the fine art space? Really try to have galleries represent me more, and like I can step back a little bit from the front view perspective. But when I think about who I am, I'm clearly an extrovert. I like being around people. I like going to the events and attending different things. It actually fuels me to connect with my audience and collectors and patrons and everything. So I actually enjoy that. And when I think about an environment where a gallerist or a manager or an agent or somebody is like completely speaking on my behalf, I don't really like that idea. But I do like having a little bit more of a balance point where I'm not doing as much as I was doing before as a completely independent artist. So I'm seeing where I can do both. But what I'm realizing, because I probably talked about that in some episodes ago of being a Gemini. Everybody can't be a Gemini and living in this duality, being able to do both. What I'm realizing is that social media and having an audience actually prevents you with a lot of leverage. So it gives you a little bit more, like, one, you already have a proven concept kind of. So when I was reading the Harper's Magazine article, he was talking about how a lot of these studios don't want to take risk on new stories or new shows or whatever, and that's why you just have like recycled IP, what's the IP? Intellectual property. So that's why we see so many iterations of the Marvel movies, the X-Men movies, Star Wars. Like, these are sort of proven models, intellectual property, where the studios don't have to take as much of a big financial risk. Now, what he also talked about in the article is that, like, now that model is shifting. That's not even somebody doing something in the thing. That's not even a proven model anymore. I guess like the Marvel movie had flopped, Shazam flopped, Flash, they like lost $64 million or something like that, because it's like, yeah, we tired of seeing the same old superheroes. Like, can we innovate? But I get how innovation can be a financial risk, and so what social media is, and kind of like here it's so tied into the music industry, like, right? So with TikTok, almost what they're saying is that some of these record labels want your song to already go viral, or you to already have an audience before they even give you a record label. And I get it, because that mitigates their risk. They're like, cool, you already got a fan base. We already know that we're gonna make money on your album sales, on your concerts, on your merch. Like, cool, we almost betting on a sure thing, And I'm like, okay, interesting. So it doesn't, but also social media, what I'm realizing for me is that it doesn't have to be is the word like means to an end. Like, it doesn't have to be like YouTube doesn't have to be my end point. It can actually be, wow, that is a very large bug. Okay, can you not be on me? Okay. Anywho, so it's almost a leverage point. Not almost. Having an audience already gives you leverage, where, one, especially if you have a Patreon, like I have a Patreon set up, so my patrons are making available for me, where it's like some projects I can say no to, because it's like I'm actually good, like I would rather be painting what I want to paint in my own studio, and I know that my patrons are here to support that. They're financially supporting me. I know that I already have a community of people who rock with me, so it makes it a lot more accessible for me to say no to certain projects. It keeps me out of this state of like desperation, which I really love. It makes it where I don't have to accept every project that's coming my way, And what was interesting about reading the article was the writers, unfortunately, didn't have a lot of leverage once the studios start to monopolize. Like, they talked about how, they became these big conglomerates. Like, Disney came together with Sony and Pixar, like I don't know all the different names, but they talked about how they, am I kind of low in the frame? Is it weird? It doesn't matter. Well, that's a little bit better. Like, I don't want to be all the way at the bottom of the frame. Anywho, So he talked about how the writers didn't have much leverage. Now, I think it's great that they're unionized and that really helps different things. But then also I could feel like, man, being a part of the union, you might feel like your arms are tied a little bit. Like if you get, like, I don't know, like there's a lot of different things in regards to that. But I think it's great when you're able to come together and you're able to show solidarity, which is what he mentioned in the article. It's like they came together as a united force, you know. But what I'm seeing with social media is that when you do have your own audience, you already coming to the table with something. You know, you like, look, I already got my followers, I already got my fans, like I already got people streaming my stuff, watching my stuff. So like, what you about to bring to the table, you know? And that's why I love YouTube. And that's also just why I love all these different social media platforms, is because it really, okay, so I used to say, and here's something that I'm kind of processing out loud as I'm speaking to y'all with it. I used to say that like there aren't any gatekeepers anymore. What I'm realizing is that there are gatekeepers to a certain extent to certain industries. When you think about Hollywood and getting like a film made, there's still major gatekeepers with that. Like, I mean, the average person isn't just walking up into to Disney and getting their like movie made. There is definitely still major nepotism, gatekeeping, all the different things taking place in those industries, you know. And so, and I'm also seeing that as well as I'm entering into the fine art space. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a little bit of a, it's so crazy. As much recognition as I have in Seattle, as much as a beautiful community that I have and that I'm super grateful for, and as much as the Seattle artist community is connected, there's a clear line of separation between the type of artists. And I realized that when I recently was showing my work at an event out in Seattle, and I loved it. It was great. It was a full lineup of so many incredible, talented Black Seattle artists. But it also reminded me, like, you know, you go to these events and you start seeing the same faces, the same people and the same artists. And I guess that's what any industry, right? Like, you go to the Met Gala, they probably like, oh yeah, this is okay, it's the same set of celebrities, it's the same actors, whatever. So every industry has their same set of people. But in a region where my studio is now, like a certain area in downtown Seattle, there's all these big galleries, right? And those artists, I don't know any of them. Like, I don't know any of their names. I've never seen their work. I don't know any of the owners of the galleries. And I'm just like, man, this is almost like a whole nother side of this city that I don't know and I don't have access to. And there is, yeah, it just reminds me that there is a little bit more separation than we might think, in that I might have this idea that there aren't gatekeepers anymore, and there aren't, but there is still to certain industries. Like, it depends on kind of what you want to do. If you want to put your music out there in the world, granted, you don't have to go get it pressed on. We letting the plane go by, y'all. Like, ain't nobody trying to pause and chop and edit. Like, we trying to like get it done. But like, but you know, back when, it's crazy, like when you think about back in the day, like with vinyls and stuff, you literally had to have the money and connections to somebody who was about to put your music literally on wax, get it pressed and distributed for you. So it's like, if I think about the music industry, yeah, there is no gatekeepers anymore. Okay, yeah, maybe I will pause for the dog, because like we were dog sitting, and I know like when other dogs get to barking, the dogs we were dog sitting was barking too. So it's just like, I don't even want the dog. I don't want the dogs at your house to start barking. hearing my neighbor's dog bark. Okay, maybe I could lower my voice a little bit and just bring the mic closer so that they don't hear me talking. But yeah, so there are sort of, okay, so if you wanted to, like, now, if you're in the music industry, there is nothing at all stopping you from putting your music out in the world. Like, there's literally not. And I think maybe why the movie industry still has such big gatekeepers, I think it's because it's so expensive. There's still some barriers, the entry point, you know. Like, of course you could make a movie per se, like, yeah, somebody could upload something on YouTube, but like that takes a lot. Like now you got to get all your friends to be actors. Somebody got to do the makeup, the costume design, the production, the editing, the sound. Like there's a lot involved, I feel like, when it talks about making a good movie, you know. This, like, yeah, when you're talking about getting a whole film, a whole movie made, that's completely different from a bit of more of a solo project where you just like recording an album in your bedroom and upload that on SoundCloud. Now you can upload stuff on yourself on Spotify. Like even the Gemini Diaries on Spotify. Like I'm uploading this on Spotify. So there's literally no barriers at all, I feel like, when it comes down to music. But some of these other spaces, it is a little bit. So I'm thinking about like the fine art world, the movie industry, yeah, some other industries as well. Like I can't think of off the top, but like feel free to throw it below in the chat. We can kind of get a little combo going. But yeah, I think I'm just realizing like, oh, and recently, because I did decline I think, was I shared? I did share it with y'all I shared it with the people on the main channel. So on the main channel, I was on my way to a gallery for a portfolio review, and it was cool and everything, and they liked my work, but I declined being a part of the gallery. And really it was just because, like, I just want to go in a different direction than what this gallery is probably able to provide me. And I'm just really getting clear on that. Like, I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. And when you start seeing when you start seeing the yellow flags, it's like, at this point in my life, I don't even wait for red. It's like, if the flag is yellow, if the flag is yellow, I'm not even about to. I'm just like, you know what? I am so laser focused on where I want to go right now that I don't even, if the flag ain't forest green, we not going. we not going, especially when we clear on where we want to go, I heard not. Wait. Anywho, I hope this win ain't getting y'all too much. But when we talk about gatekeepers, it's important to have nuance and have context on, like, okay, well, what gates are we talking about? Like, specifically, what gates? Like, do you like okay, wait, what gate? Yeah, there's still a little bit. And so I did decline this gallery, and it was just giving yellow flags for me, and I want to be forest green for where I want to go, and I'm clear on it, and that feels really good. But also, the other thing that I realized in even making the decision, I was like, damn, am I about to email them? Like, am I sure? Like, well, what if they able to, like, well, what if they can da-da-da? And I'm like, based on what I'm seeing, they aren't really able to give me more than what I can already do for myself. Like, I already just sent an email out to my newsletter and, like, sold a painting. Like, somebody literally replied, was like, I'll take it. I was like, great. Like, thank you. Okay, look, shout out to my patrons. Okay, like, shout out to patrons. Like, and I think that's the power of patronage, like. And also, when I think about patronage, I think about the money going directly to the artist, because, like, quiet is kept. And I feel like what a lot of people don't know, when it's maybe like older people as well, if they donate in the big arts organizations or whatever, and it's like, oh, fund the arts, they do like the Tuesday Give Big campaigns and whatever, like, a lot of that money is not going to the artists. Like, sure, you might think like, oh, we have this $10,000 grant that we're doing for whatever. It's like, yeah, but somebody is on salary getting their $70,000 to $100,000 a year salary in that arts administrative office. That money is going to paying the operations of that arts organization. Now, of course, those arts organizations should be funded because they are helping out artists, and of course they should be paid a living wage. I'm just saying, I just want the facts, though. Like, I just want people to know the facts. And of course the camera went out, so if you still listening, then we coming back. Okay, we back on the camera. So it's like, yeah, just letting the people know that the facts are, all of that money is not going directly to the artist. And so even with patronage, that money goes directly to me. It goes directly to me. And Patreon's fee, I think it's like 5%. Now, YouTube, they have their membership, and the YouTube membership is whatever, like every YouTuber can make their own tiers, but YouTube takes 30% of that, which is crazy to me. So it's just like, yeah, no, I'm never doing a YouTube membership. Like, what? Okay. What? So it's like, yeah, if anybody wants to support artists, like, become a patron of theirs. Like, that really does directly go to artists, and it gives artists the leverage to be able to truly decide what they want to make. And also it gives them permission to really create what their patrons like as well, because sometimes as artists, we making certain stuff, it's like, oh well, maybe I should make this so this will sell, or like, oh, I wonder if this. It's like, no, if you already putting your artwork out into the world, whatever form that is, and you have patrons who resonate with what you're already creating, beyond if that piece is sold, beyond if a studio has accepted that script, beyond a publishing who's accepted that manuscript for a book, like beyond whatever, your patrons are people who are like, I already rock with whatever you're creating, and I just want you to have the time and capacity and energy to be able to create more of that and do whatever lights you up. That is just so powerful, and that's now available to us in this digital age. And so I'm realizing that I don't have to go like all in with YouTube, where I'm just completely scrapping my in real life relationships or experiences or art shows or opportunities. The sort of digital age can just be a leverage point for me, where I'm like, yeah, I already got people backing me, and so now it's kind of like when you in a relationship, it's like, yeah, no, I already am whole. Like, I'm already whole. I already love myself. I already have self-worth and self-value. And so now I'm coming to you not in a state of desperation, but in an energy of collaboration to see how can we have a value exchange with each other, where I'm getting something, and then in return you're getting something as well. Not like where you come in completely empty and you desperate and you got nothing and you feeling insecure and you just like, please love me, please like my art, like, oh, any opportunity is phenomenal, I'm just so honored and grateful to be here, even if it's free, like I'll be here for exposure. Like, yeah, no, we just in a different vibe. And this is why I feel like it goes back to the power is going back to the people. Like, when you have people who backing you and rocking with you, then yeah, now you can come in, now you can come to the table fully confident and fully empowered. But that's what social media and the internet is able to do for you, And so yeah, I'm just never going to shit on the internet, because it's just really dope if you're able to use it as a tool that it is. And so I'm really shifting to really try to brainstorm how I can do that best. And I'm able to just be out here like chilling in my backyard talking to y'all. Like, I'm just so fascinated by the internet. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, somebody across the world is watching this right now. Like, what city are you in? I'm in Seattle. And it's like, we're literally having a conversation right now. Well, it'll be a conversation if you comment, but like, whatever, you ain't got to. This be a mind dump for me. It really do be. But it just like blows my mind. Yeah, it's great.